Mr. Witness, good afternoon. I'm Commissioner Pearl Brown Bull with oversight for Monserrato County.
Good afternoon, Mother dear.
Yes. Who you say your grandfather was?
The late R.L.S. Knuckles.
Robert Ellis Rocker. And who's your mother?
The female Knuckles Bracewell. And
she married now to someone.
She married.
That's Nick?
Nick is my aunt. Nick is married to Steve H. Collison. Yeah, but my mom.
Female, yeah.
My mom was married to Daniel K. Bracewell. I just buried my father in February. Yes, mommy.
I see that you have another profession, mortician.
Yes, ma'am. After my
I also recognize the fact that you want, and you admitted it, that you one of those who well trained in military science.
Yes, mommy.
Because despite the fact where you were trained, from listening to you, you seem as though someone who well trained. So at least there's still people around here who well trained. And for your profession as a mortician, do you have intent to, although you have learned a practical as well as theory, but the theory not so much, but doing the practice, you've learned enough because you bomb a lot of people, right?
Yes, my lord, yeah.
So at this stage, what are you doing?
Presently, I'm not working. I'm not practicing my profession, but I'm involved. I'm engaged in other activities. Like I do have a contract with the Firestone plantation company.
To embalm?
Not to embalm. I do slashing.
What is slashing, woman?
That is brushing under the rubber tree. And the reason I'm doing this because we have protected the World War I, World War II, World War III. We protected Firestone. You know, had not been called first and we second, had not been some of us, maybe there wouldn't have been Firestone today and government would not have been receiving a lot of taxes from Firestone today. But because we were present, we were focused, we did not allow our friends to loot Firestone. In fact, there were news around that, oh, Firestone pregnant, Firestone coming to deliver. But because our president, they say Firestone got abortion.
Yes, stating that brings me to another area of the role of foreigners as well as the role of the concessions in our country. You having joined the civil crisis in the early stage up until the end, you are aware of the fact that there was an embargo. That means people were not to export and goods and food were not coming in the country for the civilians to eat, couldn't export, and the embargo. Now you said Firestone were protected, one of the big concessions in this country. So to be able to protect them, I'm sure that they were also protecting you all by giving maybe fuel or anything, because what we want to really find out whether it was just Liberians who were in this war or whether or not there were others, because when you come to put the blame, the sword must be struck evenly, because if you don't strike the sword evenly, then justice is not right and fair. So you've just talked about you all supporting, defending Firestone. So were you all just there, or were you all reciprocally getting something from Firestone?
Nothing,
were you all rubber being exported, rice being imported, or so forth? Could you elaborate?
Nothing, mommy. Nothing Firestone gave us. We were just doing it because they were part of our responsibility, and we had to carry out in making sure that our government be printed good. But nothing. If Firestone knew that the work I did for them, they won't give me work to go slack under the rubber tree. They will give me they will make me. I will be superintendent today. But you know that the American people, they only want to use you. Firestone never helped me, man. Firestone gave me nothing. Firestone gave me nothing. I was just protecting and defending this nation because I took oath.
I want to say from your explanation, what you said here, and from the resources or the information that I have available on you, I can say thank you very much. Did you go to the TRC and did you give them interview?
Yes, mommy. Yes,
What-
mother dear. That was
what-
done for like 3-4
When
months.
3 months ago,
Yeah, yeah, mommy.
they asked you questions and
Yeah, I even met one of my friends there. They called Trouble. I don't know. It's weird. I mean, Trouble. Yeah, I spoke with them like 2-3 months ago. That was in August. Yeah,
August.
that was in August. Yeah.
Okay, I just got this sheet of paper on you today, this morning, so I don't have much facts to have really found out much about
I mean, if
you.
I'm gonna do
besides
plenty,
what
if
you
I'm gonna
said.
do plenty in the country, you're gonna have plenty information on me.
Okay, yes, that's another way to look at it.
Yes.
So based on the knowledge that I have and what you said, I have no questions to ask. So thanks for coming.
Thank you, Mother
stating your
dear.
side of the story.
Thank you, Mother dear.
Thank you very much for your testimony. In your statement, you tried to clarify about a witness that appeared before the commission who mentioned your name, that some people that were put in post stacking at the time and were executed were part of the group that went to collect the people. You said no, you wasn't part of it. But being that you were part of the armed forces of Liberia at that time, do you have any idea as to who were responsible, who actually went to collect the people?
No, mommy. No. We have to say the truth. We have to say the truth. I don't know who are involved, but those people that were involved, they were not military people. Because if they were military people, you go to a post target to get people from there, then you call name, because you call DKB, answer, then no, I was not part of those. I couldn't have been part of those foolish things. Excuse me.
But they did die in custody.
I don't know, mommy. I was at BDC Mall. I was seeing collecting bodies, mommy. If the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, this is where you come to say the truth. If I have done something, mommy, so help me God. I'm a Catholic. I was baptized since 1974, confirmed. I was altar boy all in the Catholic Church. If I had done something, I would, to your surprise, I was going to invite those that are hurt, those that are did mayhem to come. I'm going to the TRC December 4th. Come, let's settle it there. I was not part of anything as such, mommy.
I understand you're not part of it. The question is, did the people die from in custody? They were in prison at the time, and then people went there. You were in the army. Did you hear anything? What happened to them? Were they in prison?
Mommy,
Can you confirm that they were in prison?
I knew Thomas Dewey and some other people were in prison. Yes, but I did not know how they got out. Nothing at the time, mommy. No.
Thank you very much for your testimony.
Thank you, mommy. Yeah, people. Maybe you need to talk to them.
No.
Let me just say thanks for coming. I will just start by
I didn't catch your name, sir.
My name is John H.T. Stewart.
Oh, okay. Okay, big brother, go ahead.
Why you say, oh, what happened?
Because you're my big brother.
Thank you very much. I know I'm older than you are. You were born when, 68?
68.
I was born 1954.
You see that?
I'm by far older than you are.
So far, you know, so that's why I call you big brother.
Thank you very much. You've already told us when you enlisted in the NPFL. This was in 1990, and you told us the circumstances under which you enlisted.
Yeah.
You talked about your training. How long did you train in Burkina Faso?
Well, we did everything 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks.
And what year was this?
That was late 91, 92. Yeah, 91, late 91 going to 92.
And the 192.
Yeah.
Okay, this was before elections. So were you trained at official military bases in Burkina Faso?
Indeed.
Can you tell us the name of the base where you were trained in Burkina?
Well, in Waka, we were trained in Ouagadougou. Yeah, that was a military academy, and then in Tripoli was the Mutala base outside of Tripoli.
Now, can you remember who was the commandant of the base in Burkina?
So helping God. I won't lie to you, big brother. You're my big brother.
Okay, specifically, what kind of training did you undergo in Burkina?
We did basic combat training, advanced infantry training. Then we left to go on the other side where we did guerrilla operations, guerrilla ideology, anti-tracking.
Now, you mentioned the name of Martina Johnson.
Yeah.
Did she train along with you in Burkina?
She was trained, but not on the same base. She wanted to do artillery.
I see.
Yeah.
Her training was for the same period, 8 weeks?
Hers was shorter.
Was shorter. And after that, then you went to Libya.
Yes, sir.
At the Mataba base.
That's it. How you managed to know the name? You called it better than me.
Well, that's all right. And you were there for how long?
We did like about 2.5, 3 weeks.
2.5, 3 weeks.
Yeah. And after that training, big brother, you had to go into the bush to come out with a living deer to be presented. If the troop went into the bush and they didn't come out with a living deer, you won't graduate.
So which part of Libya was it? Because Libya is mostly desert and does not.
So
have,
that's what made you to graduate from there after going through that. That's why I say it was out of Tripoli.
And you say you were how many there?
No, I didn't tell you how many there. Do you want to ask me how many?
No, I said how many Liberians were there with you?
There were few. At the time it was the NPRAG operating, so the commander in chief at that time was just trying his best to organize himself to be prepared for other eventualities.
And then after your training, you returned to Liberia.
Indeed, sir.
And was stationed where after your training?
Went to Banga.
Executive Marshal Guard Task Force.
Yeah, Executive Marshal Guard. When I came from Tripoli, I was assigned deputy commanding general for the 1st Infantry Brigade. Later on, I took all the responsibility as commanding general for the 1st Infantry Brigade, Executive Marshal. After the fall of Banga, we came back and I became Deputy Chief of Staff under the command of the late Prince C. Johnson. He was the Chief of Staff 97 because he was involved in an accident.
Now, who was your commander when you came back? You were deputy, you said.
Yeah, that was before when I was Deputy Chief of Staff. Who was my commander?
No, not Deputy Chief of Staff.
When I was Deputy Commanding General?
Yeah.
It was one J.Y. one way. He was J.Y. one way.
Is he still alive? Is he still around?
He's still alive, yeah, he's still alive. I can find him for you. If you need to talk to him, we can get him. Those are guys that are willing to come, but just that they have not been called upon.
Now, while you were serving at the Executive Mansion Guard Task Force, who was the commander of the, was it Mr. Cassius Jacobs?
When I was
The
serving
late-
as commanding general,
No. When you served in the Executive Mansion Guard Force,
oh yeah, before the fall of Banga, it was the late Cassius Jacob.
and
Yeah,
you served under him.
indeed.
What was the rank of Mr. Saboli at the time?
Somebody at the time, he was deputy MP commander. In fact, when I was promoted to the rank of brigadier general and assigned commanding general, that very day, sir, myself, sir, became provost major general for Executive Mansion Presidential Guard Force.
Was he one of those that went to Tripoli and Burkina with you?
No, sir, he did not go at the time. If he went, I don't know, but he did not go at the time we went.
Now, what would you know about the execution of Cassius Jacobs?
Well, Cassius was charged for negligence. Cassius was charged for negligence.
And who were those who were involved in the execution?
Who were those involved? I don't know. You know, this organization was a broad-based organization. So if we were on the other side doing something, the other people, just how you hear right now, the office on 9th Street, they're doing another thing, you know what's going on there. So, you know, it was like that. But I was not part of that.
Now understand that his execution was videotaped and that he was beheaded. You know anything about that, or are you on that videotape?
No, sir. If I were, I would tell you, so that his people can be here and we can reconcile if they have any differences. Thank you very much.
Was Mr. Sapoli involved in the execution of Mr. Jacobs as well?
No, sir. No, sir. Sir, that man, an MP man.
Now, at the time, who can you say were the 10 top military officials of the NPFL? If we will look at the chain of command, how did the chain of command look like? At the time you came back from training, was deployed in Banga, what would you say the command structure looked like? The top 10 in the hierarchy?
Well, if you say, you know, this NPFL was a broad-based organization, as I earlier said, because we have various divisions. We had the commander-in-chief. We have the first president to be the late Enoch Dogodie. We have the other old man that came here, and Scorpion, and you know, security light, right?
Say Scorpion?
Yeah, Scorpion security light, or maybe Mose Black that he had during the war. Yeah, and he was the inspector general. So but then we have favorite chief of staff. We have Cassius Jacob. We have what the Marine Division, how you call it, but Nathan Gay, and we have John Tier, Army Chief of Staff. We have Iwe Wongwe, artillery. You know, yeah.
Now, where were you during Operation Octopus? Where were you assigned?
When was Octopus?
1992.
Which
October.
October? I was in Bangkok by then because I just returned. You know, when Octopus, but Octopus, I was in Bangkok at the time.
Did you participate?
Octopus, I have full responsibility. At the time I told you that I returned, I was deputy commanding general. Later on I became commanding general. So my concentration was Pong County, Bangkok. So I did not, Octopus was like, I think Octopus started with from Mount Bagley or 15 Gate. So I was not part of that thing there. That other operation, I was not part of it. I was there making sure that the president was safe and his family as well.
So, would you have any knowledge of the Carter Camp massacre?
Carter Camp, the incident that took place in Firestone,
Yes, sir.
it was far from Banga. Carter Camp, it took place in Mount Gibby, I was in Bon County.
Now, there were some witnesses who testified before the commission, attesting that they were taken from Carter Camp and taken to Banga. Did you see any of them? Did you know of any? Did you know of the presence in Banga at any time of those who were taken from?
They were taken to Banga at the executive mansion.
Well, Banga, the area limit of Banga is from Wagogo to...
Banga, bro, big, if they were taken to the executive mansion, big brother, then probably, I may know, but if they weren't taken to the executive mansion, but they were taken to Banga, so help me God.
Now, the witnesses said specifically they were taken to the Covington campus. You're not aware. You didn't hear anything like that.
No, no, sir. No, sir.
How about the Duper Road massacre? Caulfield. Would you have any idea?
Tuporo, when was it?
Duper Road massacre, this was 94,
94?
94, 95? 94.
94, we were fighting to lift Banga up. Because the commanding chief had come on radio and saying 3 days we lift Banga up, and it took us like almost 3 months to lift Banga up. So we're based there. We're based on that side. I don't know about Tuporo.
Now, since you are lifting Banga up, would you have any idea of massacres that took place around Banga during the fight to retake Banga? Like for instance, the Phoebe massacre. Would you have any idea?
If there were massacres taking place in Banga?
There were some massacres that took place in and around Banga. Around the time that the NPFL was fighting to regain control of Banga. And one of such massacres, for example, took place at the Phoebe Hospital.
But
were you aware?
No, I was not aware. But let me just let's learn. Phoebe, the fall of Banga, were not in control of Banga before we would have been in control of Phoebe. No, Phoebe was then Ilimoke at the time because they came from behind St. J, behind Cottington. So they were in full control of Phoebe Hospital and all the kind of area. So we had come from Ganta and attacking Banga from the Ganta highway coming towards Banga. So anything across that side, big brother, no.
Now,
I don't want to mislead the commission.
Who do you remember as General Monami in the ranks of the NPFL?
Oh, Paul V. Monami, yeah, he was one of the generals too. He was one of our generals. But not as an executive mansion. So, he was with a unit called Gamma Force. I think, yeah, that was Gamma Force Division, Gamma Force unit.
So what was this real name of this Monami, General Monami?
We knew him to be Paul V. Monami.
It was Paul V.
Paul V. Monami, yeah. And because the name he got Paul V. Monami, because he was assigned with former, the late Special Force Paul V. And because, yeah, so he took his name, Paul V. And because he was now Liberian, he had accent, he came from different country, Monami. Monami people, I don't know where they come from, Guinea or somewhere.
So you don't remember his real name?
No, sir. Only Paul V. Monami. And we got another name for him, we call him someone. Because sometimes we told the army people in the car he told what the chief calling someone used to ride, so he said he was calling someone. Yeah.
So where is he now?
Paul V. Monami should be here. I think I just got recent information that Paul V. Monami is somewhere in the red light area. I think he was one of those captured at the time that was in Sierra Leone for some time and they was brought back. If you have any information on that, he was one of those captives that were in Sierra Leone.
Now that you mentioned Sierra Leone, what would you know of the NPFL involvement in Sierra Leone? Did you ever meet Fode Sankor in Banga?
If I what?
Did you ever meet Fode Sankor in Banga, the late Fode Sankor?
I only seen Fode Sankor on TV and in newspaper. I've not seen him one-on-one how looking at you. I know that I even know who to call Fode Sankor.
So what would you know of the NPFL involvement in Sierra Leone? Did you go to Sierra Leone? Did you fight in Sierra Leone?
That's why I said be better. We were fighting around here. We couldn't solve our problem. We've been attacked all over. Then we'll go Sierra Leone to do what then? No, sir. I was not part of it.
But you know that there were NPFL fighters there, though.
There were Liberians fighting in Sierra Leone. Just as Sierra Leoneans were fighting in Liberia too.
And those Liberians came from the NPFL?
Excuse me?
And those Liberians came from the NPFL?
Well, I don't know where they came from though, but they were Liberians. Big brother.
Yeah, but you were in Banga then. We have information that a lot of looted items came from Sierra Leone and into Banga. So you never witnessed any of that? You never saw any of that?
Well, you know, fighting war, looting things came from all over. There was no sound or anything I say. It was looted from Sierra Leone. It was looted from Guinea. It was, no.
Now, what would you know of the group called the Angola Forces that belong to the NPFL?
Angola,
Yes.
Angola forces. No, not to my knowledge, sir. Not to my knowledge, big brother.
You're not aware. You never.
If you can, you know, we can learn, then probably, but maybe it was some other name, but Angola forces, no, I can't remember, big brother.
So you were never part of the Angola Forces.
No, Angola forces. Our executive master presidential staff, deputy chief of staff. Why I going to Angola again? I know Angola. I'm go Sierra Leone, I'm go Guinea, I'm go Angola.
Now, with the NPFL, you were in Banga, and you mentioned that you were in charge of or you were deputy in charge of the Executive Mansion Guard force that
Yes.
had responsibility for Banga. Now, we have information and reports that there were some executions that were carried out in Banga in broad daylight. One on Banga Broad Street, in fact, two on Banga Broad Street. One was by Mr. Cassius Jacobs, who executed a man in Banga Broad Street allegedly for having open fire. And two, the execution of another man by Mr. Sagboli. Two were fighting, and he arrived on the scene and shot one and defied anybody to remove his body, and that person's body was there for 3 days. Are you aware of all of this?
Well, you say Castle Jacob first.
Yeah.
Yeah. You say Castle Jacob executed someone on Banga Broad Street because he discharged firearm.
Yeah.
Why did he discharge firearm? Was it the time for the enemy were around there before he discharged arm? People,
But if,
sir,
if you were executed for discharging firearms, then there could not have been an enemy, because it would be justified to discharge a firearm if enemy around.
fine, so then there was no need for him to discharge firearm among surveillance. So if you executed big brother, then that shouldn't be. With a reference to Sagboli, yeah, Sagboli executed soldier that discharged firearm, and it was my soldier, first brigade. He came from first brigade.
Did you issue those orders?
I did not issue the order, but somebody had order that anybody come to Banga. That was the process. Now we have all male and all between us in our midst. We have representatives from the United Nations at the time, or what ECOWAS, ECOWAS, yeah. At the time they were there among us, and in fact we were disarming people at the time. But these guys, when they come from the front line, they come and act like because they're just from the front line, so they are macho men. They come. Oh yeah, somebody executed one of the soldiers of the first infantry from the first brigade under the executive master presidential guard. And I tell you what, I was saying low-fire fighting when I returned that evening. They said, "Oh, chief, you know how the soldiers behave." Say, "Oh, chief, your own man, you go execute one of your soldiers." So I said, "But your intent God, somebody he killed more than 2, 3, he go kill one." Because you have no right to discharge firearm in Bon County among surveillance. So somebody took high orders and he was carrying on his order. I went to my man, so I told him, "My man, thank you for bringing calm." Yeah, because it was good. You see, all the things happening, all the execution happening now today. We knew that there was no need, there was no reason for firing, there was no need for shooting. The only means we had was to go to elections, and that's why we prevailed on carrying on elections, and we became successful.
But does the mere discharge of firearms, does it warrant execution, warrant death?
Let me go, give me one gun now, let me go on Broad Street, let me fire and see if the people will not kill me or they will not charge me.
Well, if you're operating, as you mentioned earlier, within the context of the UCMJ, which is the Uniform Code of Military Justice,
Yeah.
is there any provision anywhere in the Uniform Code of Military Justice?
In charge of, in fact, that's the general order. In charge, discharge of firearm among surveillance in any situation. Yeah, that soldier needs to be executed. So, somebody, and thank God I was soldier man, I was not surveillance.
Well, thanks for confirming that he did execute somebody. He was here recently and said he had never executed
Maybe by
anybody.
the way you people put it to him, but Sagwadi carried on instructions. He had orders to execute anyone at the time all men were in our midst. We were patrolling along with all males in our vehicle or ECOMOG in our vehicle. So anybody that discharged firearm to tarnish the reputation of the commander-in-chief, that's where must be executed. That's where it had to be executed.
All right. What would you know about an incident that happened in James Soy Town?
I don't even know where James Soy Town. Bon County?
I guess maybe in Bassa. I guess.
No. Let me learn. Probably if you explain the story that I can be able to brief you big better.
Well, we did have a witness that testified before us that in James Soy Town, you were leading a group of men, and you asked and you ordered that the civilians leave the town because you were expecting an attack from the LPC. So I suppose it was in Grand Bassa, but the LPC did not operate in Bon County.
No, they came from Bassa.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then when they were leaving the town, you ordered your men to open fire, and they did. A lot of civilians, including the witnesses' children, were all killed. Can you recall any such incident?
So help me God, upon the oath that I took, if I order any soldier to open fire on surveillance, I came all the way from Mount Kibi to come and testify here. On my way back, let the Lord take a course.
Now, my final question to you. The killing of, or the death, you have explained that this captain jumped from the vehicle.
Yeah, Captain Sumo.
Captain Sumo jumped from the vehicle and broke his neck.
Yeah.
But there were other accounts that you took a bayonet and stabbed this man right before the Ministry of Defense.
I have, as 1st Battalion Commander, I have access to soldiers. My security alone was more than 15, 20, more especially at the time of fighting war. I have my pickup and I had a bus moving with me. So if I want to, why might I go tell Captain Sumo, you are not enemy for me, for my side to go take Bennett to, no sir, it's not true. I don't want to go into detail, but I would tell the soldier and say, do they want, do that one, but not for me, my side to go, no way. I never had anything against him for myself to take PNF and took him. No sir.
Did you give the body to the family for burial?
No, I didn't, because they were on the front lines. The incident occurred on the front lines. When you die on the front line, except maybe you are general, you some top man that the body has to be brought. If we were bringing bodies from to Monrovia, man.
So
maybe
which are the front lines?
We're going to use the Lynn Street or Central Streets main roads to bury people.
So which are the front lines this incident occurred
On the Swan Mega Highway, because LPC were coming from Bobolu area. And when you get at Bobolu Junction, I think that Gokaya somewhere, there's a road leading to Pommy Hills and there's a road leading coming to Swan Mega area, coming to Boje, Bubata, Bloje area. So in that area towards the front line, that's where the incident occurred.
But does it strike you strange that an officer who will jump off your vehicle and run to the Ministry of Defense and you put him back on would not attempt jumping off the vehicle anywhere around Monrovia, Poor River, Riggs?
Oh, because when he made the attempt the first time, because we took everybody like, oh, get on board and we're going. So when going from the defense, there was nobody holding him, or everybody felt that everybody had decided to go.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. Why would he then choose to jump way over there?
Then why he chose to join on the first time? Because he was not willing. He was not willing to go to fight, brother.
I agree, but that was right in Monrovia. And
so he thought he could have gotten away with it by jumping off the pickup, go to defense, because like defense ministry. So, I have to help brother now, so nobody can take me. Hell no. We put you on board to carry him to go fight. He's been paid. He told oath to defend his nation as a soldier man. he took oath.
Yeah, wait now. I'm just saying, if he jumped here in Monrovia first,
Yeah.
before Ministry of Defense,
Uh-huh.
to get away, and you put him back on,
Yeah.
and he jumped again, and that caused his death.
Yeah.
My question is, why do you think he would have chosen to jump off the vehicle near the front line
Cowards died many times before the death.
when he could have jumped Waterside, Douala,
Oh yeah, because
or even Port River?
Yeah,
he
because-
was closer to Monrovia, and
because
we
when
can
he
get
jumped
away
on the
easily.
when he jumped on the first time and we pulled him back on board the pickup, he was not sitting by himself again. We had him now, and because we were closer to the front line where he was hearing jubilation as he was approaching the front line, that when fear got in him and he thought he could jump, he thought he could escape and go run the pickup moving. He jumped off the pickup.
How long had this particular soldier, how long had he served in the military prior to that incident?
Well, he had been in the military. I don't know. We need to find out from the G1.
Did he have any combat experience? What do you think?
Being in the military,
The late Captain
being in the
Sumo,
military, if you have combat experience, you ought to have it because that's what you joined the army for.
my question is, if he had combat experience, then why would he have been shaking, since he already in the combat area, why would he have been shaking to jump, to risk his life, jump off the vehicle, break his neck, when he could have gone into combat and even come out alive?
Be better, Honorable Stewart, Honorable Commissioner. Huh. And you see some of these soldiers said that the new AFL today, God forbid, we're praying for it, but walk out, most of them will put a gun down. Being trained is quite different from being over there on a fire. Myself sometimes as a commander, I have problem being there sometimes, you know. So it's quite different. It's quite different.
But with the rank of a captain, having served in the military, I would presuppose that he did have combat experience. Having reached the rank of captain, having served in the AFL for some time, and I don't get the impression from you that he was a part of the NPFL prior to that time. And if he had been in the military, then he must have seen action. So combat would not be a new experience. It's a different thing when you come from training and go into combat for the first time.
Probably he
combat.
has never fought war before. Probably that brother has never fought war before. So, you know, big brother, this whole thing, that's why I wish the family, I don't want us to go in detail for me to say more because I still feel that the family of Captain Sumo, I wish, if there's a possibility, I know the head of the family won't gonna give love. If after this thing, we need to find gonna give love, let's bring the family here and we can sit down and talk and see how best we can harmonize this thing. But I was never involved in the execution of Captain Flomo. And I think some well-meaning members of the family know I was not involved. It happened at the time it happened. So let lady think the rest. Maybe those questions can come when we meet the family and we try to resolve the issue. But I want to say things maybe that would make some family member get angry and, you know, come out to say something else. I have children. I have 4 children.
But have you met the family since?
Oh, long time. I did what I had to do. I meet the children. Or in the West side, when our older woman said maybe we'll be more closer, you won't be worried about the man say again.
Thank you very much.
One, two, three. Testing, testing. Thank you. So witness, thank you very much for your presentation. I apologize I was not physically here, but I heard most of it on the radio as I was coming. But there were parts that were missing. I may ask you a couple of questions that you can help me fill in those blanks. First of all, the reason why you are now part of this particular inquiry activity is because some name was listed amongst those from the 18,000 plus statements that we received who could be classified as an alleged perpetrator. against various victim activities. So regrettably though, I don't have the detailed list of the particular accusations for your particular case. So I cannot deal with that directly. But I heard that you did try to answer towards one or two of them earlier. But what I'm concerned about is to understand your situation. First of all, I noticed that you confessed that you have been a high commander in the NPFL. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Could
I
you
didn't
help?
catch your name, sir.
My name is Coleman, Commissioner Gerald Coleman. Thank you. How long have you been associated with the NPFL? Or were you associated rather with the NPFL? When did you join and when did you leave?
Since I joined NPFL early 1990, and I stay with NPFL, I've not left.
Okay, 1990. So it means you've worked with them straight through even after the 203 peace talks.
Even up to now, I stay with them.
Oh, so the NPFL is indirectly still an organized structure on the ground?
How you
in
look at
Liberia?
it? Y'all say, your politician, y'all say NPFL, not NPP. So if I stay with NPP, I stay with NPFL.
Okay, I understand your logic then.
Thank you very much, sir. That's why the future I wanted to work with some institution in government. Then the question to go ask me if I affiliated with any party. Security man, you don't come to a party. You want to serve the party that is in power. That's what we took over. So I forgot it straight. I said no. They think if I can't, they will humble me. So I left it. Yeah.
I see.
I won't be part of those people. I mean, we party our way. Security man, you got no party. You must just work to defend the nation.
So you said you're still with the MPP, right?
Well, that's another aspect.
Oh, I see.
I die hard.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I see. So even though you're not, you are. All right, 1990, how old were you, please?
I was born 1968, 1990, check it.
Okay.
You know, the war, the thing, we did all kind of bad thing there. I want to touch on the thing that said we did because, but the Bible says, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. All things pass away and yet all things become new. You know, I got some friends today from normal towns. I got like Michael Williams, I got Lorenzo Hammer, Otero Massaquer, Brian Sigler. Those friends, Joe Lawson, those friends are good friends. They didn't even know what they call cigarette. But the politician that brought water, pour in some kind of thing there that people that don't still know what I'm talking about. I want to talk here.
Yeah, well, anyway, I understand your heart about becoming new.
Yeah.
Regrettably, though the Bible did mention things of this nature, the reality on the ground has been that not many people have become new as God has expected. As a result, the conflicts, the suffering, the war, the abuses still continue over 6,000 biblical years since Adam and Eve disobeyed God. Okay, getting back to the hearing. So then I'm concerned also about how you got into the NPFL. I heard part of the story of your desire to be educated as a mortician and how the problems came that you had to come home to the burial of one of your relatives and you sort of got stuck.
Grandfather, the
Yeah.
name LS Knuckles.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That
Yes.
led me being part of the NPFL because at the time there was not SN Brussels, we had Sabina normal days. You know, there were Sabina Airways, there were not SN Brussels. And SN Brussels was coming to the country on 3 occasions, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And I came home on Wednesday because we had to come to Carrisburg to bury my grandfather. That was in May of 1990. And my father at the time worked for Lamco, you know. So I was received at the airport on Wednesday evening, went to Buchanan, and we left Buchanan Friday to come to Monrovia to have the body removed. I don't know which funeral was it. Normal day, I think, was A.B. Anderson or the lady that used to be the striker before, Chris Parnell, I think. Yeah. And then we left Buchanan that Friday, and we came while we were burying my father on May 19th, which was on Saturday. We got the information that Buchanan had been captured by rebels. And we left Buchanan to come to Carrisburg to bury my grandfather, to go back to Buchanan. So I left my passport, my ticket, everything in Buchanan. That's how come I got caught out. I did not complete my profession. I did not complete my studies. I think I did 9 or 10 months into my profession. But I've done the practical already because when I was in Buchanan, going to school, growing up, at the time Mr. Bidel, Fred Bidel had his funeral in Buchanan, and I was friendly with his children. That's how come I started having interest in this profession.
So the key thing is, do you feel that you were forced into joining NPFL, or did you get inspired by the revolutionary vision that was presented to you to join in the struggle?
If I say I was forced, then I will be going contrary against the ethic of the organization. I was not forced. I willingly joined. I said it at an early stage, sir.
Okay. Do you feel that what was the general goal and objective of the NPFL, which became MPP, and that you are still now a diehard with, that you all were striving to achieve? And do you believe that you all have achieved that goal in any way?
As a matter of fact, I think it was this whole arousal came up from the people. The people wanted a change. That's why we became part of it. But because of those that were involved, other people, like this war started from Bhutto. We listened to the Senator General Johnson. If General Johnson had not, this entire war would have lasted for a very short time if General Johnson had not deflected by going on his own. He said because they told him to go to the border, there was no answer, he went on his own. They killed people. I want to talk about the killed people here, man. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay, so that's your answer. So you're saying then that you have not really achieved your goal, but General Johnson was the seed that brought the enmity and confusion that caused the war to last as long as it
we
did?
accomplished our goal because we went through elections and we became victorious. We won the election in 1997. Yeah, but you know, it's all politics. Me, I'm not a politician. I'm a mortician. I'm a soil man. I won't go onto that aspect because I know very little.
But you felt the goal was achieved, so you're happy with the results in your sense, considering the bloodshed and the pain that has brought upon our country?
Be better. I'm a Bracewell. My mind's a knuckle. If you say bloodshed, I regret the situation. I know whatsoever happened, I think it was not intended for the revolution being so, for which I was part of. And you know, so I regret the situation of people. In fact, I regret the situation, and I want to say this openly. My own very little sister was raped. So you can't tell me that this was a situation that I was impressed with or I envisaged it. No. If I had gone according to what was planned, it wouldn't have been so. So this is a situation I regret. You know, our soldiers, even some of my soldiers that were assigned with me, we went through some area, we went through villages, we went through towns, and the people willingly gave us the cattle, they gave us the goat, they gave us the sheep, they gave us the chicken. And you know, we eat all the people chicken, we eat all the people goat. And you know, the indigenous people, the native people, they would give us the cattle, they would give us the sheep, they would give us the chicken, but they wouldn't give us the dogs because the dogs were the protection. The dogs lead them and protect them in the bush. But after we ate all the people chicken, then we'll still go for the dogs. You know, so this is a situation that we regret. We infringe on the rights of the people. We infringe on the rights of the civilians. We regret this situation. That's why this commission was formed, for us to come here to say sorry to those people. We wronged them. We apologize to them. We use this occasion to say sorry our people for what happened.
Thank you. That's a beginning. Okay. I noticed also that you told us that you have been properly trained for the kind of work you've done. After you joined, was it that there was an opportunity that came up for this training, or what? Could you just shed a little light on that?
I was one of those selected among my friends to go for training because of my smartness, because of I was educated, I was out of high school at the time, I had traveled, I had broad experience, so just by my interaction with commanders and so I was selected among other friends, you know, to go for my junior commando training.
Okay, what year was that, please?
The late 91, 92.
Okay, so that was after the death of Samuel Kanyando.
Indeed.
Okay, we were made to understand that the original goal of the NPFL was this issue of getting rid of Doe because of the problems that he was creating for the country, at least alleged by the people. But here you have a situation where the major enemy now is dead, and there's hope for the rebuilding of the country, but yet you're mobilizing people for more extensive warfare and destruction, that period of 1991 to 1997. So what did NPFL's motivation change at that point to become I must have power period, or what happened then?
Well, I'm quite sure, first of all, I'm quite sure for knowing who my commander-in-chief was or who my commander-in-chief is, His Excellency Dr. Charles G. Taylor. If President Taylor had arrested Samuel Doe, the late President Samuel Doe, he would have been alive today. I can tell you that. But the whole process when there was no more intention, after the death of the late Doe, that should have been the end of this whole thing. But there were other problems that came in involving ECOMOG coming into one Dongo Yaro came here and said he wanted NPFL 45 miles away. So that put us onto another level that we had to defend ourselves.
Okay, so in essence now the new training was to defend yourself against the ECOMOG and the other forces that were looked at as a new enemy in a way.
The government sending for training is to defend the nation. I will defend myself. I need to I can defend my own self by not even going for training, but we're trained to defend this nation. But what I'm saying, if you're being attacked, you have to defend yourself. That's the first thing. If I had not defend myself, I made myself vulnerable, you won't be having TKP here to be testifying to this, seeing the truth, like how other people can here and mislead you people. Everything I see here, sir, is the truth. I came here not to lie. I'm from a good family. I got my children. They got future. I'm not going to sit there to mislead this because I know other people out there listening. It's so good. Mother dear, Madame Bouya, in fact, she knows my aunt and all. So you see that she knows my mother. So I'm not going to say there. It will be disrespect if I come and lie to other people. So help me God. If it ever happens, I said on my way back to Mankibi County, let whatsoever happen if I come here to lie today.
Okay, thank you. So your concept then during that period of 91 to 97 of defending your country, when Liberia technically was no man's land with two different countries in a sense, the organized government in the greater Liberia and the organized structure in the lesser Liberia. What was your country at that point? What was the Liberia that you were defending then? What was the source of that sovereignty, in your opinion?
Commissioner, in respect to what? The position of the Liberian people?
Yeah, during the time of before the coup, like now, for example, we have a country, right? The election is taking place, we restored their sovereignty.
Even during the war, we have country.
Okay, well, think about it now. During the time of 1991 to 1997, the so-called concept of Liberia didn't exist because the president had been killed. The nation was in chaos. There were two different sets of countries claiming themselves to be the sovereign head. The people in the greater Liberia, the people in the lesser Liberia. So if I'm just concerned from the heart of those who were fighting in NPFL, what was the vision of the country that they were focusing on? Was it the old Liberia in your mind, or was it Charles Taylor's leadership and his head as a nation, or what?
We envisioned our country and wanted to see our country back to its normal footing. That's why I think we were involved, if I may answer your question correctly.
Well, it's not what I expected, but anyway, I respect your answer. Okay, moving on to my last one. During this time, one of the key things that we're also concerned about, during the case of war, is understood when fighters are confronting each other who have been well-trained, militarily empowered, that there will be death and destruction. But the law provides that that should be within a certain realm of the rule of law. Meaning soldier killing soldier, okay, that's reasonable, but they should not go and destroy innocent property, public property. They shouldn't hurt civilians. They should be willing to give their life, in fact, to protect innocent civilians. But in our particular case of this war, we see that almost 80 to 90% of the people who, no, maybe I'm exaggerating, but let's say 50 to 60% of the people who died were just the simple innocent civilians. They were raped, they were looted, they were cascaded, they were cut up and they're looking to dead bodies. And so what happened in your particular case? Are you saying that with the group you dealt with, none of this was committed? Or was it committed, but you don't see yourself as being responsible for it? Or Do you
Let-
see yourself being responsible for it and apologize to the people? I'm trying to understand your particular unique
Yes, sir.
situation.
Let me just put it in a nutshell. We regret the situation. Yeah. We regret the situation.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
why
you
we here
are
to say.
responsible, but you regret the situation.
Indeed.
Okay.
If I have gone into this country, led men to front line, I control a division, I control during the crisis, I control a division. Then after elections, I've been chosen to control a battalion within the armed forces of Liberia. Then I say I'm not responsible. I'm responsible. We regret the
Okay.
situation. That's why we're here to say sorry
Thank you.
and to apologize, sir.
I respect that statement.
Thank you.
Last one. Would you say that you personally, during the time you held the gun, have ever found yourself having to commit one of these violations of international humanitarian law or human rights laws or crimes against humanity?
Yes, we did. Even if I did not personally violate it, soldiers under my command violated. So indeed, we're still responsible. We carry on some violations. Like for instance, maybe we came into this town and then we living among the surveillance. But you know how some of the children behave? They cleaning their arms in the presence of surveillance. When you clean your arm, obviously you have to try it. Well, so that led to some surveillance, not being comfortable among us that they had to leave. It was not right. We come into this village, we living with the people, and suddenly they have to leave because of our behavior. No, we did. I must admit to some violations that was carried out.
If an opportunity was to be provided where some of these civilians who felt offended by your actions could be able to have a forum directly with your presence, would you be willing to apologize and deal
I
with
thought
that?
some of those people were here right now for us to sit down and harmonize it. We talk, we shake hands, we hug, because my heart is clean. I wish we had some. I just thought when you came to the TRC, you have people here that maybe you did wrong to, and they were here, and we settle it for us to move forward. That's the only way we can move forward.
It's not so easy when there's been death and destruction, but we have to see somehow how we can try to provide that forum. So it's not something like a game.
So I urge you, I admonish you, and for sure I beg you, let's see how best we can bring this thing to pass.
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions.
Thank you again, Mr. Witness. You have just said you regret the situation, that you are sorry for all the things that happened during the period, but yet you say you are a die-hard member of the NPFL. Don't you sense a contradiction? Wouldn't somebody say, no, you are not showing remorse and you don't really regret, instead you are boasting
Yeah, but
for what has happened?
I think, Commissioner, maybe, I don't know, probably you may be right, but I think I'm seeing it from the bottom of my heart. I say I'm part of the NPFL, I'm part of the NPP. I'm seeing it from the bottom of my heart. That does not mean I don't regret. If I would say I'm no more part of the NPP, or I'm no more part of the NPFL, and then tomorrow we had a Jamboree, the NPP had a Jamboree. I was not there because I was far off, but I think we're having another one on the 13th. I will be there. Then we'll come here, I tell the people, say I'm sorry, I'm no more with NPP, then they go see me there, I misled them. I think I've seen it from the bottom of my heart. I'm still part of this organization, but indeed, we regret the situation. Whatsoever happened, we were involved. We took part, but we say sorry.
Thank you. You also said there was an order requiring that all AFL soldiers be taken to the front. I initially asked if that order was written. You said yes.
Oh, there were order published.
It was published.
There were order published. All AFS, yeah. In fact, there were muster at the BDC. That all soldiers should muster at BDC for briefing, to be sent to the. Oh yeah, there were orders.
So the order was issued from the CRC.
Well, if you talk about the military, anyway, I know you down your area on, but still you're not here. But when you talk about the military, order comes from the top. Yeah, chain of command in the army.
I want to be clear who issued the order. The Chief of Staff, the Defense Minister.
Well, the chain of command from the Commander-in-Chief, Defense Minister, Chief of Staff, Deputy Chief of Staff, Commanding General, Battalion Commanders.
The order was published.
There were order published, yeah.
Who signed the published order?
Well, the commander in chief will say, look, call the defense minister, say, look, publish an order, look. All soldiers today, all soldiers of the armed forces of Liberia should take pay on Friday. That order will be published. Mr. Defense Minister issue an order for all soldiers to go to the front line, and that will be the responsibility of the Defense Minister. Thank you.
Tell us with which unit, battalion Captain Prince Sumo was at the time of his death?
Who?
Captain Sumo.
Captain Sumo.
Can you say which unit?
He was with the 4th Battalion. He was with one of the battalions.
Battalion.
Yeah, and the 4th Battalion, not assigned, I think the 4th Battalion from Grand Bassa or somewhere, but he was in town.
Who was the head of that battalion?
4th Battalion, sir, I can't remember, but it was a colonel, maybe I think a Colonel Flomo, for which I don't know, but the head of that battalion has to be a colonel, a battalion commander.
Yeah.
Yeah, battalion commander.
The battalion commander.
Yeah.
You don't remember his name?
No, but I think it's Colonel Flomo. Probably I can investigate and get back to you some other time.
That would be great.
Okay.
But was that battalion also under your command?
It was not under my command, but the order was passed for all AFS soldiers.
Akape, it wasn't under your command?
No.
But somebody called you and told you this soldier has jumped and broke his neck, and you gave the orders that he should be buried.
Oh yeah, because that was my control area at the time.
Were you on the front at the time, or you were here in defense?
I was in town, but I was assigned to the front line. That's what I'm saying.
So the Mecca district area
I had jurisdiction.
was your control area?
Yes, yes, sir.
And you felt it was within the scope of your authority to authorize his burial?
Yes, sir, more especially at the front line. So yeah, that's why I said, Honorable Commissioner, if we were to bring soldiers that died, probably wouldn't have had, maybe Central Street would be from Benson Street, start to Benson Street, because we're going to take all the quota to bury people.
In the face of the family's claims at the time and the general public impression that was created about it, was there an investigation of how Captain Sumo really died?
Oh yeah. There were investigations carried out the Ministry of Defense. That's where it started from. In fact, Honorable Daniel Chair called the family members and main started for a forum and for which we discussed for them to know clearly, because everybody felt the news, Roman had it that I had killed Captain Fulmo in front of the Ministry of National Defense, for which it was not done, so I did not do it.
Do you remember who called you from the front to give you this information that he died? And
yes, it was the commander that designated on the pickup, the late Ernest Quebo.
it was the pickup commander.
It was the commander at the front line. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the commander.
He was heading that unit.
Yes, I had a commander based at the front line, but he
Ernest-
attacked with Ernest Quebo. I live Grove.
And you say he's dead now?
Yeah, he died. He died
From?
in World War III. He died in Douala.
Okay, you spoke of the SBU. Did it occur to you at any point in time that these little boys were very vicious during the course of the operation?
Indeed.
Were there any mitigating action taken to minimize their atrocities or to discourage them from what they were doing? Because there are a lot of heinous stories about what they did.
Well, no, there were no actions taken into that respect, because they all wanted to be part of the movement. They willingly, they were not forced. They all wanted to be part of the movement.
Okay. Mr. Daniel K. Bracewell, your testimony has just ended. I want to thank you very much for coming, for throwing light, for clarifying, for providing your position on most of the issues that have arisen. You also provided information we are confident has added some value to our work. Is there anything you'd like to say finally before you leave?
Yes, sir, Honorable Commissioner. I would like to say this process is very good. But I think this process will be incomplete without the president or former Liberian President Charles C. Taylor. So I don't know how you guys are going to get around that, but your work will be for naught if President Taylor does not come here to testify. And all what we've been doing, well, you know, our time spent here. Sometimes ago, I remember you used to stay at 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. So I urge you, I admonish you, see how best we can get this thing to pass. And the second thing about this, I see a lot of people coming here and talking about American Liberian and talking about the indigenous people. I think this situation, you have to get involved seriously. You know, let me just put it this way. The Bible says, why to the hidden range, they imagine vain things. You know, the American Liberian, this thing here, even right now, since we buried my father, my mother had the opportunity, my mom went to the States. And she came back just a few months ago. And when she came back, the people from the half-town around Carrisburg, they brought one little girl to live with my mom. My mom said, oh, I want no girl, because girls, children full of problems. If I can find me one little boy, I would accept the boy. They went, they brought the little boy. The boy presently is living with my mother in Carrisburg. He's going to school. And for some other reason, they call the boy Bill Gates. The American Liberian, they train the native man, they educated the native man. That's why you see today, even before, they never had no FLUMO, no colleague in the House of Representatives. Today they got it. They will thank God, thank you for that. But this thing about this presidency, it belongs to the American Liberian. They're the people have it, or you leave it with us. The minister, the representative position now will be for you. But this thing, if we don't handle this thing, it will bring problems to this country, Honorable Commissioner. I'm telling you. Some people come here, they're expressing their view when it comes to the additional thing, American Liberian thing. Let us stop it. If we don't stop it, it will be the next problem in this country. So you have a responsibility to handle this thing. Yeah. This the executive, you're leaving with the people, you're leaving with us. We'll give you the ministerial position, the representative, you're leading the thing that they let it be, so they'll run the country that day. We educate the people, educated you, they train you. Today, everything fine, let's leave it, they think here. May the Almighty God bless the work of our hands and state to state. I thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. I would just like to make a little comment on the two things you said. Commissioner Wu just reminded me that the commissioner exerted all efforts to make sure they have access or give Mr. Taylor an opportunity. And you rightly said that you are a cursing to former President Taylor.
Let me say,
Mr. Cameraman, you interrupting. What is that?
And in fact, let me say, I'm
no, just
okay.
You did. Your testimony is over now. Let me just.
All right.
Because you did say you were related, right?
Indeed, yeah.
I'm sure, and you desirous of making sure this process is successful. It will be good. Family members like yourself and die-hard NPFL people can communicate with the former president, let him know it's important that he avails himself to the process. I'm sure that will be a contribution. And secondly, you made a very, very important point about people not driving through this native American Liberian divide. But unfortunately, your comment seems to reinforce this division, where you say that the presidency should be reserved for Congo people and the native people. You use the word native. You didn't even say the indigenous. Yeah, you said native. Well, the native people should be satisfied that they have been trained. I think those are unfortunate comments.
Okay, I apologize for that.
It's even more unfortunate that you are using this forum to say that.
Yeah.
We're speaking of unity and oneness and reconciliation. For us, we don't see the native country divide, and you're right, it's part of our responsibility to make sure that Liberians, go beyond that, and we hope that all of us can make those contributions. So thank you very much, sir, and you may kindly leave now with the thanks of the Commission.
Thank you very much.